Miss J. Can you guys see me? Can you hear me? All right. Yes, Mvhayv Barnett's classes are still going. It's just she was out yesterday. So I was able to fill in, and I think I have the number. It's 8865654963. I can try to type it in the chat. Just for your information, the screen is being a little cranky this morning. So if you see me hitting on a couple of things, it's not wanting to work right today. All right, that should be the number for Mvhayv Barnett's class. Like I said, she was out last week. We had some technical issues. That's why she didn't have her class. So we are trying to get back on board. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on. Does anybody remember what we did last class? It was a lot. Let me go ahead and scoot over here. We're just gonna get warmed up for a second here, and let's see. Week 3. 2. Does everybody remember these? Does anybody have any questions before we start on the last class?
I do, Mvhayv.
Okay.
And you probably explained this before, and I just didn't retain it. But when we're talking about the simple sentence present tense, and we get to step 4, and it says add a declarative ending S or ES.
Yes.
How do we know which of the two that is?
If it's a vowel, you use S. If it's not a vowel, you use ES. You don't put 2 vowels together. That creates something called a diphthong, like the we sound, and we don't want to create those. I was rushing this morning trying to get my notes in order. So if you guys have the simple sentence present tense from last week, or yes, what is today? From the last class, then that's what we're going to be using, because those are all the notes for the that we have for the simple sentence present tense. But before we get started, let's go ahead and sing our song here. So we've got a lot to go over, and trying not to run out of time. All right. All right, is everybody woken up? I know I have to get my my mouth and my mind ready to speak and to learn Mvskoke. And let's get back to there's so many classes. They're kind of getting jumbled up for me here. Like I said, I filled in for Mvhayv Barnett yesterday, so it was like my class, her class, and I just made it a fun class yesterday. We just looked at a lot of videos. We gave our mind a break for a minute. And I was able to share the, they have an Instagram, they have Facebook, they have a TikTok, which I was not able to get onto, and then they have the YouTube page for resources that the Mvhayvs have created over the years. And I was able to share that. There was a prayer, there was several prayers there on those resources. And I also was looking through and I seen brown bear in the resources as well. If those of you who have kids or just want to know that that story. So those are resources out there. I can, let's see. I can, at the end of class, if we have time, I'll just go through and I'll share the social media card that I posted on yesterday. Like I said, we've got a lot going on today and I'm saving some time for questions. So we're just jumping right into everything that we have started to learn about writing sentences. And I will go over these. And like I said, these are the notes from the class on Monday, the 27th. So those of you who look into Google Drive, this is the same notes that we're going to be going over. I will read them again just to refresh our memory, and then we will review first person, and we just start to dabble into second person. But I want to make sure you guys understand going down the list and following the rules. I can say these rules over and over, but until you actually see them, it doesn't really make sense. So we're just going to go over these rules. I'm going to read them, then I will go through and I will show you some examples and show you sentences, simple sentences that I have made. That's what I was rushing to do, is type it up. To use these conjugated sentences. I am doing something. And you will see that I used our vocabulary words. That's why I was using put a lot of vocabulary words out there. So whenever we got to our sentences, you would have something to use that we all understood. All right, let me go over these. Simple sentence, present tense. I know there's future tense and then there's past tense. There's all kinds of rules, but right now for this module, we are just doing present tense. And because we have to start somewhere, so we're going to start now. We're conjugating in present tense what is happening now. The present tense steps: first, you drop the ETV. Second, you L grade the verb stem, and you lengthen the final vowel of the verb stem. If the final vowel is a V, change it to an A, unless it is followed by MK, NK, or T. If it is, leave it a V. The rest of the final vowels, place a long mark over it. I know we were talking about some literature and some writing. People have written Mvskoke differently over the years. Miss Ella was talking about how they had done the phonetics. So sometimes when you read some of these things, it doesn't all match up to what we're teaching you or how we know things now. Because like I said, phonetics, and then you've got people who are trying to translate from English just the way they hear things. So like I said, there's some literature out there that I've seen that have letters that we don't even have in our Mvskoke sounds or alphabet. So that's why you see differences sometimes. You just kind of have to know, well, that some looks similar to this or that. And I've seen like the word hokte, H-O-K-T-E, which is woman, spelled H-O-K-T-I. So those are, like I said, little differences we've got to work with. So, okay, let me get back to this. And number 3 is add the person marker, I, which is I, it's is you, and nothing is he, she, it, or they, singular. And number 4, add the declarative ending S or ES. And like I said, you don't put 2 vowels together. So that's when you know that you just add the S instead of the ES. Past, present tense conjugation, drop the ETV in the verb stem, L grade the verb stem, lengthen the final vowel of the verb stem. If the final vowel is a V, change it to an A unless it's followed by MK, NK, or T. If it is, leave the V. The rest of the vowels get a long mark over that. The only thing I talked to Mvhayv Eli, she was saying the the long mark is just a kind of like a lengthen the sound. The only time it actually changes the sound is a E. Use an I if it doesn't have the mark on it, or the E if it does have the mark on it, the long mark. L in L grading means lengthen, so you can lengthen the final vowel of the verb stem. L grading shows that MVM through L grading turns to MAM. As we get further along, you know, we should come across some of these. The final vowel and the last vowel in the verb stem is MVM. The final vowel can also be used, can also be the only vowel in the verb stem. And we've seen that in Ayeda. We were able to change the V to an A, and the verb stem was AY. So it, you know, it could be the very first letter, like Ayeda, Ayes. Say V becomes an A unless it's followed by MK, NK, or T, and all other vowels will be lengthened by adding the long mark over the final vowel, A, I, O, E. And then number 3, add the person marker, I, it's, or 0, or, you know, the parentheses. You can put parentheses, just whatever keeps your mind knowing that there's something there. For those of you who need to go in steps. Okay, and then you add the person marker shows who's doing the action. I is the first person, mean I. It's the second person, mean you. The third person does not have a marker. Like I said, I'm repeating these things, so maybe one of these times when I repeat it, it'll stick. Okay. So, like I said, it's represented by this symbol. And what I have done is the symbol with the 0 with a mark through it, or I've also done parentheses, parentheses. So there's nothing in the middle. So you know that there's something there, but you don't see it. You can just do it however makes you feel comfortable. And see, there's no person marker for the third person. The third person translated to Little English would be he, she, they, and it in the singular tense. They can mean many or one, but if you use they in what we're writing, that should be probably the last week that we're going to use they, or he, she, or it, or they. Then you put it in singular, knowing that we're using one person, they. They dropped this off for our potluck. And you know it's one person, you know. Somebody dropped off the udgy, the corn. They dropped off the corn. So you know it's a singular person. They can mean many or what if you say put parentheses, ing, since we are making singular form sentences. Number 4, add the declarative ending, s or es. These declarative endings are also the periods, and they also mean am, are, and is. Woo! I know that's a lot. But you know, these are how we're starting our really simple sentences. And you have to let me know if I am sharing the correct information, because my computer over there is being a little bit crabby and does not want to share, or does not want to log into what I'm trying to show you guys. All right, you guys see that? This is Hayida. And this is what we went over on Monday. And I'm, like I said, I'm just refreshing. And you see, if you guys have your printout on your steps, I tried to make it as simple as possible. On Hayida, you make the Ayida. You make to make Hayida the verb stem, you drop the ETV, which is in your notes. So you're left with HAY. And according to your notes, the A is the final vowel, and so it gets the long mark over it. Then you add your person marking right there, I, because we were using I. And then on your next step, you add your declarative ending, S or ES. So it's got an I in there, so we just add an S. We don't want to put two vowels together, so you just add S. And right here, this goes the same. This shows you in a different way to show you the same thing, but sometimes it makes it easier. So you see that the verb stem is the one in red, and you see that the A has a long mark over it because of our notes and our rules. And then the I is the person marker because we are talking about I. And then the S is the declarative ending. And you see that I finally put the period on there. I was talking about this last time. I left the period off. And so you see how you go from hayada to hayas. And so this one word, this one thing right here means I am making. This right here is a whole sentence. I am making. So I thought that was really cool because a lot of other people who look at this and say, well, what the heck is going on? Well, that's a whole sentence. And does anybody have any questions so far? Is that starting to make sense to anybody? Okay. Let's see. Let's see. I did leave 3 of them that I didn't do. I didn't conjugate last time. Did anybody sit there and try to conjugate anything? Just step out and try it. If you did, just write in chat or just unmute and let me know if everything worked right and if you thought that it was a little easier to have these notes. Feedback would be nice so I know, okay, yeah, this is working, or no, this isn't really working too much. But did that help anybody? Did anybody try the last 3 that I didn't conjugate?
I did, Mvhayv, and I thought it helped a great deal. I thought it was beautifully done.
Good, good. All right. All right. I'm trying to get to this week's note. I know I sat there and I did all of these notes and I'm trying to remember where I put them. I did move them over. But I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that everything that we went over made sense.
Mvhayv, is it okay if I check with you that I did it right, or is that completely self-serving?
Oh, that's great. That's exactly what I'm looking for, is, to make sure that, anything, well, notes help, but I'm still probably not saying them right. But that's fine. I still flub up on my pronunciations, but you know how to write it. You know how to read it. That's a beginning. The speaking will come with practice. Okay, Amy, if you want to ask your question, go ahead while I'm looking for this, or share your attempt, which would probably be awesome.
For iskira, to drink.
Right.
Iskesh.
Let's get into it. Okay, let's see. Woo. Like I said, it's a lot today. I'm looking through my notes here. Iskis. Yes, that's it. I'm looking for my notes. I just typed for you guys, and I just can't seem to find them because I sat there and was going through. Maybe I put it in the wrong folder here. But since I'm still looking for that, let me show you this. This is the grammar book that a lot of these rules come from. I know Amy said that she had bought the book, and it is helpful, but it's hard to read. It's really hard to read. And then the Mvskoke dictionary is also a good reference. They have notes at the beginning. I just cannot find those notes that I just made. But here is the breakdown on translation. And this is what I found exciting, was that you know what each little part of this means. You see that the black part, which is the verb stem, means eating. You add your person marker, I, and then you have your declarative ending. I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out where I put my notes. Your declarative ending is am. So you can see that it literally translates to eating I am. So your Mvskoke word right here is actually it's Mvskoke sentence, and it's really translated to eating I am. And then you translate it to English, I am eating. Oh my goodness, I just typed up all of these notes. Let's see. And I just made sure to put it on the Google Drive. All right. Let's see, person translation. What else here? I know I'm having problems with one of my laptop for some reason. The other day it dropped off one of our apps that we use. And I couldn't find it anywhere. So while I am looking for that, let me go ahead and show you. This is our Mvskoke social media card. So if you have Facebook, they've got a lot of videos on Facebook. That I know that they have stories, they have words, they have prayers on the Mvskoke Okanaga and Instagram. I was sharing with the class yesterday that I've been tasked to do word of the day, and a lot of my words of the day until the end of the month, we were not going to share the story, but I made a story for the word of the day because a lot of people are using like March and April. You've got flowers, blooming, planting, gardening. Well, if they're already putting those out there, I didn't want to redo what somebody else has done. So I decided I was going to use word of the day to tell a story. So at the end of this month, which will be Friday, the story, I asked her to post the story up there, and basically all the words that we have been learning through the month of March has been for the tobacco story, how it came to the Creek Nation, to the Creek people, Mvskoke Creek. I haven't been on the TikTok, but the YouTube videos are out there on YouTube. Here's the number right here. For those of you guys who have questions or want some of our resources, I will put on a video for you guys while I look for my notes that we have. I put it in there. I know I did. It's just for some reason it's hiding from me today. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here's the tobacco story that I was sharing with them. So you can read that real fast, and I'm going to duck over here. These are the words that are on Instagram. Just take a few minutes, and I'm hopping over here. I'll be right back. All right, so you guys able to look at that? I do apologize. Okay, so people have, if you have to duck out, that's fine. I did find it over there, and I'm not sure what's going on because it is in my folder on my laptop. Let me go ahead and get out of here. And, oops. Okay, let me get out of here and let me get back into Google, and we'll see if this one works. You know how it is. Sometimes technology is awesome until it doesn't work. And we've just got to work around with what's going on. What's going on today? All right. That's really weird because it's in my class 4. There the no. First person. Okay, here it is. So you see that I think this is what Amy was talking about. She was going over these.
Can you screen share again?
Okay, let's see. There we go. All right. Woo, not sure what happened a while ago, but they weren't there. Let's see. Can you guys see that?
Yes, thank you.
All right, so I think this is what Amy was talking about. She was doing this one. And let's see, I want to make sure that everything is okay. All right, so for the steps for iskada to drink, these are the steps that you go by. You drop the ETV, and this is the one you did, correct, Amy? Okay, and then you're stuck with the verb stem right here. And then you see that the E has got the long mark over it. You add your person marker. And then you add the S, which is the declarative ending, which means am, are, and is. You go right here, like I said, it's a repeat, but it helps. You've got your verb stem, you've got your person marker, you've got your declarative ending, and you've got the period at the end of the sentence. Iskis. I'm sorry. But this is how you get from our infinitive verb iskis. I am doing something. I am drinking. All right. And I did make some sentences. Okay. And so they're all here. I'm so excited. Okay, so this I show you guys in several different forms, so maybe something will stick, because I know for me sometimes one thing doesn't stick but the other one does. So you see right there the ESK is drinking, you've got the I and the S with the period am. The translation is Mvskoke word iskis. Literal translation is drinking I am, and the English translation is I am drinking. All right, woohoo, things are flowing now. All right, makes me feel good. And I did the last three that I didn't do last class to show you guys. I know I asked for, just for you guys to step out of your comfort zone and try it. And thank goodness, Amy, everything came into play and you were able to follow the notes and get to the from the beginning to the end. So that's exciting. All right. Here's another one to see hijira. Drop the ETV and it creates the verb stem. You've got that right here. And I know it seems repetitive, but it helps to keep going over these. You see that the E is the final vowel. So we created the long mark over it. You have your person marker on your next step. You had your declarative ending. And that also means the period at the end of the sentence. You see how I broke it down, and these are all in our Google Drives, so you can refer back to these. So the verb stem, you've got your person marker, and the declarative ending. EJs. To see. I'm going to go through some of these a little fast because we're trying to get everything crammed up in 30 minutes. All right. Again, like I said, I broke it down to make it a little easier. You see seeing, I am, Mvskoke word, EJs. Literal translation, seeing, I am. English translation. I'm trying to make sure that you guys are, can you guys see this that I'm talking about? Okay. Like I said, my computer over there is just not having it today.
EJs.
Right. Okay. All right. And there's let's see. Okay. First person of sentences. So now we get to the part where we're making sentences. Right here. I am standing by, and you know in parentheses that it's just, it's a stove. I'm standing by a stove. And these are your vocabulary words. I tried to use nothing but our vocabulary words. So you can go back, and if you don't remember how it's pronounced, these should be in our previous week's classes. So you can go back and remember how, and play it over and practice. Remember how these are pronounced, because I had made the PowerPoints where the speakers were speaking these words. So that's why, it's all working together. Like hidudi hudi huites. I am standing by a refrigerator. So that is a whole sentence. And like I said, we are building on what we've already learned from our vocabulary words. O humbera huites. I am standing by a table. And if you hear my words and my voice, it's not like the speakers. I'm trying to get where they are, but I know how I am learning how to teach what I know to you guys. But my pronunciation is not always quite on par. And I do acknowledge that, but we are working together and we're trying to do this all together. Okay. Mvskoke chugo ayes. See, that's the where ayeda changes from the V to an A in our notes. And we had it broken down in our last class. So if you guys want to see that, how it's broken down from the V to an A, the notes are in our previous class. Mvskoke chugo ayes. I am going to church. Daklegi hayes. I am making bread. Daklegi hayes. Wagabizi daklegi hayes. I am making cheese. Mvhsko afki hayes. I am making grape dumplings. So you can see where our words are coming into play. Hilokwa nises. I am buying gum. And that was also one of our vocabulary words for our Mvskoke sounds. Does that any of this look familiar? All of these words are starting to come into play. I'm trying to, like I said, build on what we've already learned. So you can start building on stuff. As soon as you start to expand your vocabulary, you can say more words. Binwa nises. I am buying turkey. Aji nises. I am buying corn. Daklek sapmovski humbes. I am eating fry bread. Chadahaga humbes. I am eating blue bread. Abuski iskes. I am drinking corn drink. Wagabizi iskes. I am drinking milk. Lolozi hijes. I am seeing chicken. You can put, just like Mahaya Barnett was saying, there might be some missing words, or from English you think it's missing, but from Mvskoke we already know what you're talking about. Anybody who's heard some of our first speakers, or some of the speakers who don't speak a lot of English, they talk like this. I am seeing a tree. I am seeing a chicken. Even other cultures, when they're learning English, that's how they speak. But you have to remember, they're not backwards or they're not missing anything. That's how things literally translate, possibly in their language. And I remember hearing our elders talking like this, and now it makes sense. To me, things are making sense as long as as I'm going through this language journey, things are making sense to how our elders had spoken when I was young. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Okay. Let's see. Dolozi hijes. I am seeing a chicken. Ido hijes. I am seeing a tree. Oklegida hijes. I am seeing a chair. Mvskoke opanaga hites. I am learning Mvskoke language. I thought that was cool. So you can say that now, Does anybody have any questions? You see how what we've learned these last few weeks are helping us to make these sentences, and we are able to conjugate to what we're doing now. I am doing, I am standing, I am going to church, I am making bread. So just a little tweaks of a word changes the whole meaning and makes a sentence, and then you add on to it. Wagabizi daklegi hayes. I am making cheese. Does anybody have any questions? Is that making sense to everybody? All right. No questions? Does that make sense? You getting excited? I know I get excited. All right, so now we are going to our second person translations. So we went from first person to I am doing something to second person. You are doing something. Okay, we can go iskita to drink. You drop the ETV, you get the verb stem. And like I said, you go along with your notes. So grab your notes, go along with your notes. You see, you drop the verb stem. Step one, drop the verb stem. Then once you get the verb stem, then you go to step two, L grade. So you lengthen the final vowel of the verb stem. If the final vowel is a V, change it to an A, unless it's followed by MK, NK, or T. If it is, leave a V. The rest of the final vowels get to place a long mark over it. So you see why we've got the long mark over the E. And that changes from an I sound to E. And like I said, Mvhayv Eli was telling me that E is the only one that changes the sounds. You see, add the person marker. So step three, add the person marker. It's for nothing. And since we are doing you, which is it's, we add ETSK, it's. That's the person marker, you. And at number four, add the declarative ending. So we add ES because K is not a vowel. So we add the ES. If there was an I, you would add S. Add the declarative marker, meaning am, are, is. It also means a period at the end of the sentence. You got the verb stand right here in red. It shows you are the person marker, and it shows the declarative ending, am, are, is, and the period. And so, okay, this is hard. Once you start getting longer and longer, you kind of have to break it down. It's okay. So like I said, I'm working on my pronunciation. I know how to read it. I know how to write it, but sometimes our tongue is just not working. But you say So even I have to sit there and pronounce it. I will get the first speakers and I will put these on our notes later today so you can hear first speakers speaking it. All right. When I have problems, I go ask them and I'm over there trying. I've been practicing, but sometimes, like I said, our mouths don't want to move the way that we want them to do, especially when we're trying to learn a different language. All right, so here it's broken down again as the translation. Iskitskis. Yeah, iskitskis. Drinking, you are. You've got your Mvskoke word. Your little translation to English, drinking, you are. In your English translation, you are drinking. Like I said, I put these in here more than once so you can see the breakdown and you can see it in more than one way. That's how I made my notes when I was learning how to write and to read these, is I had to color code to make sure that I was right on cue for each step. And this is almost exactly mirroring my my notes from college, because like I said, it would keep me on track. All right, to see, hijira. Drop the ETB, crease the verb stem, HEC. You go through your notes, you see that the E is the final vowel. There's no MK, NK, or T. So you put the long mark over the E. You see you add the person, since we're talking about you, it's. And then you see the next step, you add the declarative ending, which is ES, Ejitskis. And then you see the verb stem, you see the person marker, and you see the declarative ending. But since our declarative ending, I should put ES. right here on my notes. So if you guys have your notes, just mark it and put yes, because it is following a K. And there's the final word. So you see the whole process and go from hitch it up to hitch it skis. All right. And then again, I've got, oh, I can't find the. Okay, these are gotten a little bit out of order. I did try to have them in order. First person, second person. And here also is our breakdown. Learning you are, and I used this in one of our sentences, but learning I am, but I did the I, learning I am, and it was I am learning Mvskoke. So you can see how we started out. You've got your verb stem right here, the black part. You've got the U, and you've got your R. Translation. All right, here Mvskoke word is that skis. Once I start getting rolling, I can get it, but my tongue is just not there right now. That skis. Get skis. Like I said, I will get the first learners to speak this, and I will put it on there so I can practice along with you guys. So the literal translation is learning you are, and your English translation is you are learning. All right. And it looks like that is all I have to help you guys today. Like I said, we are making sentences. We are making simple sentences. So I will make more sentences next week, but you guys practice and try practicing conjugating on your own and try to figure out the rules. And if you guys have any suggestions, say, I need, if I can conjugate this or do something else, let me know, because we're all trying to help you guys in the way you guys learn. And like I said, from last week and last class, these are all of our vocabulary words along with our conjugated infinitive verbs. And like I said, next week we will go over the you part, the it's, and I will conjugate some more sentences. And I ask you guys to use what you guys have right now that you've already learned in these classes to conjugate some sentences as well. And then like with Amy, she was able to share that with us. And you learn by doing, not only seeing, not only hearing, but also doing. And I just challenge you guys to sit there and try this. Try to conjugate these things out so you can actually start making sentences. These are simple sentences, but we started from scratch. You guys started with the Mvskoke sounds, or people call it the alphabet, but the Mvskoke sounds. You guys started with the 2-letter syllables and the 3-letter syllables and the sounds that they make. And so we learned that, and now we're learning to conjugate. So as we're going along, like I said, we're trying to build on everything we've learned previously, and just stretch out and try to make some of these sentences yourself. And we can have you guys, and we're not here to shame anybody or tell you you're doing something wrong. But, on our next class, if you're challenged enough to try this and write a sentence out, I ask that you would type it in the chat so we can see how you're progressing, because like I said, this class started with the sounds and now we're making simple sentences. Like I said, some of our pronunciations, including mine, are not quite there. So I will get to have the speaker speak this. You've got a lot of your vocabulary that already have the speaker speak it. So, we'll just play around with learning and going through everything. And if anybody has any questions, make sure to write it down. and share that with me next week, or yeah, our next class, and then I can, if I don't know the answer, I'll get the answer to you. You guys have my email address, and you guys have the main number for the language department. So, if you guys have any questions, just reach out. I know somebody reached out to me yesterday and they were looking for the Google Drive address, the share address. Lucinda, yeah. Excuse. Yeah. So, does anybody have any other questions, or anybody have anything they wanted to share? Is this making sense to anybody? I know, Amy, you're doing awesome, but is everybody else, is this helping you guys? Showing it and trying to go step by step, color coding, going line by line. Is that helping everybody? Because we're trying to reach you guys in a way that you learn, and not everybody learns the same. All right, Inga, somebody says yes, all right, well, that's all I have for you today. And like I said, sometimes you just need to stop and you need to marinate on everything and let it sink in. But you see, the steps are similar for, I, you, they, he, she. So, we're going to use these same steps for this module. These are the steps to use. So these will not change for this module because we are conjugating now. All right. There's no other questions. Awesome. Like I said, I will get this first speakers to say these conjugated verbs here, and you can hear how the difference is when I'm speaking. Like I said, I know I'm choppy. They've got that flow about it, so you will be able to hear that. And that, like I said, that's what we're here to do. Is we're here to learn, and we're trying to get where they are. We're trying to emulate the sounds that they have, because anybody who's learning a different language, it's a process. All right, Madam teacher, please. I'll see you guys next time.
Madam Mvhayv, great job.
Madam.